Good evening and welcome to an all-new episode of Around Kuwait. As usual, we have a lot to share with you, a lot of different events and things happening in Kuwait. And good evening, Aziz.
Good evening, Rita. Happy to see you today. I would like to greet also our working crew and welcome everyone to your show Around Kuwait. Usually, as my co-host Rita said, we'll share with you about the latest events and occasions happening in our lovely country, state of Kuwait. As you already know, our working crew traveling all around the 6 governorates to show you great events, and sometimes we have a distinguished guest who's gonna join us today in our show. But today we have a distinguished guest. We're gonna talk about the rocket space project. So it will be like a person, he's an engineer following his passion to be like in a rocket space project since he was young, Rita.
That's right, Aziz. I think today's subject especially is going to be very interesting for us and of course for the viewers because it's not something we discuss on a daily basis, Aziz.
And even more, and by the way, he already participating with too many events in too many locations. I was get privileged to meet him in too many different places. So today we are excited to have a conversation with him, Rita.
That's right. So dear viewers, after this break, we're going to come back with our first guest for this evening.
We are back to our show Around Kuwait, dear viewers watching us through the KTV2. Now we're gonna know more about how the field of our distinguished guest when he's following his passion to be in the rocket space projects. So today we're gonna have a mechanical engineer.
That's absolutely right, Aziz. And we're going to be talking about rockets, which I'm very interested about. So dear viewers, we have with us this evening the engineer Nasser Ashkanani. Good evening, Nasser, and welcome to Around Kuwait.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here today, and I'd like to thank the KTV2 team for having me here.
It's our pleasure, of course. And since I learned what you do and I saw the script for this evening, I was just going around asking everyone the same question. Have you made rockets yet?
Definitely. We've made 5 different rockets in Kuwait and launched 3 of them. They launched in Kuwait, actually.
Nice.
That is amazing.
I'm always curious, Engineer Nasser, in the beginning because I want to know from the scratch. Since like 6 years ago in Kuwait International Fair, I saw a young person, he's following his passion alone. I saw when I visited his booth in the roll banner, I see like a small rocket. Now it's like 3 meters. That time you told me, remember, come, let's go outside the fair and let's check the launching of the rocket that time.
Yeah, I remember. It was a long time ago now, thinking about it. So it just started as an idea one day to launch a rocket from Kuwait to space.
Okay.
And it was the first event, just me going and having a banner of actually a picture of a V2 rocket with Kuwait space rocket on top. And the idea is to launch a rocket to space. So I remember at that event I did small tests on a pipe actually with a bit of propellant to showcase how rockets work. And it was exciting. Yeah, we continued at this project, now 6 years in it.
6 years, the same passion, the same motivation, Rita, and the same commitment and determination. So it's like everything, he's always committed to do something he likes.
Definitely, but I truly believe, Aziz, that with what he does, there's a surprise, there's something new, and there's something to keep you interested because you're not just going to a desk every day, right? I feel like it's a very eventful situation at work, right?
Won't believe it.
What does a normal workday look for you?
Well, so you work in a workshop and you design whatever you had before on a CAD model, like an engineering drawing, and you build it right there in the workshop. After that, you test what you built and see if it integrates with the rocket body. So it's a lot of testing by iteration. So you test something and then retest, see if it works. And that's basically how it is, a lot of work.
And there is something else, because he's a mechanical engineer, I need to know, like, how is it like mechanical engineering benefits you now in your projects? I know like before, 6 years ago, it was different than now. I know like you got something from the vibration, from the thermos, from everything included for the, we call it the mechanic. So how is the mechanical engineer links and enhance your project?
In a lot of different ways.
Okay.
So in Kuwait, we don't have aerospace engineering as a major in Kuwait University. The nearest thing that you can choose is mechanical engineering. It includes a lot of subjects and courses that are beneficial to rockets. So for example, you want to study the structure of the rocket. If it can take the thrust forces and the aerodynamic forces on the rocket, you would need to study design and strength of materials, and to see if what you built can take the pressures, can take the loads, so you can design good. Like, how would you know what thickness do you need, what sizes do you need? You go back to the basic principles and theories in design 1 and strength. And then you have heat transfer to know if your nozzle or whatever you're building can sustain the high temperatures. So it integrates in a lot of subjects. Also MATLAB and the CAD courses, you use them to make your equations, you use them to design your components, and then have them in the workshop, building them and testing them. So it's really a direct application of whatever we studied.
So it's like an inspiration, like you're studying something and then you realize it all benefits your project at the end. That's a good thing.
It's definitely amazing, Aziz, but definitely a lot goes into it, right?
Yeah, sure.
For sure. So what inspired you to actually start Kuwait Space Rocket Project? And I can only imagine the challenges you went through.
Yeah, so you want me to go back from the beginning?
The beginning.
Sure.
Okay, so I was 8 years old in the desert looking at the stars. And I asked my dad, why do they have that specific pattern? So he told me that you will know that one day. And after just a couple of months, he brought me a book titled How the Universe Works. And inside the book, there's everything about space, rockets, planets, aliens, time travel, like you name it. I got really inspired. It captured my imagination. And I started to read the book. Then after that, bought a telescope.
And asking your father.
Yeah. So really, that book was a turning point. It just captured my imagination, and I went through. I joined the Kuwait Scientific Club and had engineer Jassim Mutlag let me join his project, the Kuwait National Radio Observatory. And he guided me a lot, taught me physics and mathematics. And after that, I was inspired by actually the movie Iron Man.
Iron Man.
By the character Tony Stark.
Tony Stark. Yeah.
Just the idea that with science and engineering you can do such amazing technology made me say, okay, like why not? Why not capture that and do it?
Because it's like it shows you like this is your life. So imagine like an ideal character like him to be like same lifestyle as you.
Exactly. But also then like going into reality, SpaceX and Elon Musk. Like this was the turning point. Like looking at them and what they do there with the amazing rockets and what they have achieved. Made the idea come to true.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think that's really great.
And also we saw some shots here. See some of the rockets, and he's already carrying the Kuwaiti flag.
That was in Kuwait University, actually.
Nice.
Pioneer
How many years before?
That was actually a year ago.
A year ago.
Yeah. This is the Ambition 2 rocket. Yeah.
Nice. That's why. So this kind of shot is important, but I'm sure like Rita have something in her mind also.
No, I was just fascinated by the stages, to be honest. So like Iron Man and then Elon Musk, and there's a lot of development there, Aziz.
Yeah, and also there is addition something important also. Engineer Nasser, we are investing, you are with us in the studio. You mentioned something very nice, like the community, you joined the science club. And with the other engineers, and you were young that time.
Oh yeah, I was 14.
And, yeah, 14, so imagine, now you are an actual engineer, like 10 years more.
Yes.
So imagine the experience you got from young age. How it give you like too many like, now because when you attend the engineering college, it's easy for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
definitely. Like
tell us more.
You have hands-on experience. Yes.
Practical, you're always on your hands.
So like when you study theory, you know like what you need to design for actually manufacturing.
You are applying the design.
Yes, exactly. So a lot of courses, when you just study the theory, you wouldn't understand how to design for manufacturing.
Yes.
So the background of actually working applied knowledge in the field or in the lab would give you an experience on actually understanding the theory more intuitively. So I think it's important for kids and children to get
Definitely.
that.
And also there is an addition something. Tell us more about the family support. Your father inspired you, you were being 8 years old that
Yeah.
time. How was the family support after you were studying for the rockets and they are always supporting you?
Extremely supportive, like even from a young age. After buying the telescope, I had an idea, let me do a radio telescope in my garden.
Nice.
So my dad took me to an old building and I got the huge antenna, the dish, had it in my garden, and he would like fund me to buy some like components to build whatever I want to build. So it was a strong support. After that in the rocket, my dad was like extremely proud of me, and that pushed me to do more.
Push him to do more.
Honestly, that's really amazing. And we do need the support of our parents, especially when you're interested in something like that at a very young age. So could you describe the process and the significance, of course, of launching your pioneering rockets through the Kuwait Space Rocket Project? How is
Okay.
that going?
Yeah, so the goal of the Kuwait Space Rocket Program, KSR, is to launch the first suborbital sounding rocket in the MENA region.
Okay.
So sounding rockets are rockets that carry experiments and sensors, instruments to study the upper atmosphere or conduct experiments in microgravity environments in space to expose these experiments to the vastness of space. So the idea is we want to start something new in Kuwait, make people proud, to look up to something in the future, to be part of it. So the idea came to me, why not launch a rocket in Kuwait with Kuwait's flag, and when it reached space, eject the flag, take a picture with Kuwait's flag on Earth in the background. So that was the initial goal. In the process of actually building the rockets, we went through a lot of phases, 5 rockets in total.
Nice.
We started with liquid-based propellants,
Nice.
with the KSR-1 rocket and the KSR-1A rocket. So the KSR-1 rocket was a slim, long rocket. The engine was not optimized well, so decided to go with another rocket, which is an improved design, KSR-1A. We tested it maybe 10 times, actually, in Sabhan Air Defense Camp, and got permissions from the Ministry of Defense and the Kuwait Air Defense to conduct these tests. Did 10 of them, and then decided to go on with solid propellant rocket, and that's the Ambition series of rockets. We did Ambition 1 and launched that rocket to around 1,380 meters. And then Pioneer was my graduation project.
Nice. Which are what about?
So actually the graduation project was basically the idea of it was to have a suborbital rocket that carried.
Before you continue,
Yeah.
how do you convince that your doctors you want to do a rocket?
Well,
I know for sure, like for a senior project, you
it
have
was
a team
something
with
new.
you. Yeah.
Believe me, like it was something new, and of course, if someone approaches you with something as extreme as this, you'll have hesitations at the beginning.
Exactly.
Can he achieve it? Would he finish the course? Can he launch it? So my doctor, Mohammed Al Faris, trusted me and gave me that opportunity to excel. And that just motivated me a lot.
You got A at the end.
Oh yes, I did.
For sure.
Definitely, I got the first place in the actual event of the graduation projects.
Nice.
I think that's amazing. He has a lot to share. And you have come up with Space Vault. So what are these and how do they help students that actually want to become engineers?
Okay, so after the first year of doing the KSR project, I needed fund. I need to fund the project
Yes.
because we were just funding by our own money. So I said, why not start with an educational platform to build do-it-yourself kits related to space, something that I love and I can make some money to fund the main project. In that project, we made water rockets, small water rockets with a manual about physics, how rockets work. Then also a do-it-yourself telescope kit and other various rocket kits. So the idea is that you want to inspire youth to actually follow the STEM fields and make them interested in it so they can build and do more. As I was inspired once when I was young, Imagine a generation that's inspired in Kuwait. I believe that will help the future of the country.
Nice, Rita. So the good thing, like in our distinguished guest, he mentioned with a proud how their parents were supporting him. Even he ruined the garden there.
Oh yeah, I ruined it.
Yeah, for sure he
You
ruined
gotta see it. It's like black, the ground from the
Oh
dust.
wow, that's a lot to deal with.
I still am, but he's still continuing. He's still dedicated. He's still doing his best, and even he collaborated also with NASA.
Definitely, Aziz. I think what really stood out to me this evening was NASA. I don't see that on the script very often, let me just
Yeah.
say that. So, what was the research project that you worked with them on?
So it's actually part of Kuwait University's partnership with NASA,
Nice.
with Dr. Khaled Jassar.
Okay.
Dr. Khaled Jassar gave me the opportunity to be part of the team. And the idea of it was a soil moisture active passive satellite that studies the moisture in Kuwait's soil.
Okay.
So as a student in my first year, I get the opportunity to actually go to the field, get samples from the sand to actually verify and calibrate the satellite's reading. So it was something really inspiring to know that you're part of an international project and you're working with a team with a goal to actually verify that satellite. So that was the actual collaboration between us.
Amazing. That's why we are very excited to know more about that. The first topic was the beginning, your passion links with the spaceship project.
Yeah.
But now we are very curious to know about the next step because we have too many segments in our show.
Yeah.
So let's head for our first break. So dear viewers, let's go to this first break. Then we'll continue our show Around Kuwait with our distinguished guest, engineer Nasser Ashkanani. Stay tuned.
We are back, of course, with our guest for this evening, the engineer Nasser Ashkanani, and both of me and Aziz have a lot of questions when it comes to rockets. I'm still really enjoying getting to know rockets more, how everything happens. I feel like you guys are engineers, so there's like the secret language going on that I'm still trying to
behind the scene.
understand. Exactly, there's a behind-the-scenes situation happening here. I'm still at your rocket. How did it feel the first time you actually saw the rocket you've been working on for a long time come to life? How was that like?
Yeah, so imagine you work for like say 6 months designing, testing and building components after another, something fails, rebuild again. Then you get a date from the air defense that now is your time to launch the rocket. It's
Yes.
something new, like it's a culmination of fear, excitement and passion, being proud of yourself. The feeling was like I was in a movie or part of NASA or something. So it was really exciting, setting up the rocket and going far, counting the distance from where you stand,
Nice.
having the safety clear zone for the rocket. And then the whole Ministry of Defense personnel, they're standing, giving them a brief, counting down from 10 to 1 and pressing a button. And at that point, the rocket did not even start. It was after 3 seconds, I thought that there's
It
a
will not
problem
go.
with the ignition.
Yeah.
And suddenly, from nowhere, the rocket just launched and I can't describe it. It's like an ecstatic feeling. It's extremely proud of yourself and you see it flying and the sound is just beautiful. So it's
Definitely.
one of the best moments of my life, actually.
You will not forget it still.
Oh, yeah.
I think so, and I feel like Aziz, those were the you know, worst 3 seconds of his life. You know, when it's like
Like I
any
was like,
minute
what
now.
is wrong now?
And it's only 3 seconds, which is nothing. But I feel
Yeah,
like for
but
you, it was way longer.
I was looking at my friend, then suddenly the rocket flew. So, yeah,
Wow.
it was
So it becomes from the baddest day in your life to the best day of your life.
in seconds.
In seconds, in 3 seconds,
Very
basically.
exciting.
It was basically that the igniter charge inside the rocket takes time to ignite.
Of
So like
course.
when you're in the field, you wouldn't think about that stuff.
No,
right?
you're just thinking like, I need to see this go.
Let it fly.
Yeah, let it fly now.
So, yeah.
Because too many people around you, you feel more stressed and
Yes.
like Ministry of Defense around you, so you feel like you take it as a responsibility. You want to make something nice.
Yeah, they gave you the chance, and now you want to prove it that it's actually real. We're not playing
Right.
around. And then it worked.
And also, how is it like this kind of project benefits the state of Kuwait? Like, you know, you collaborate with the Ministry of Defense to do this project. I want to show them what you are capable of with your team.
Yeah.
Now we go to the next step. How it benefits Kuwait?
So in many different ways. First of all, it would be a historic moment for the country, for a rocket to reach space and eject Kuwait's flag in space. It will give the citizen and people in Kuwait and the youth a feeling of belonging and a feeling of ambition to do more for the country and develop more things. So they'll be proud of that achievements. Another thing is a project like that, if it advances and becomes something as a company that provides such services of transporting payloads and experiment to space, it will diversify the economy and accelerate scientific research and advancement and space exploration. It will be, Kuwait will rise to the standard of various countries that are developing technology in space. So it will benefit the country in many different ways.
Nice.
Definitely, and I think a lot of great things have happened, especially Aziz. I want to focus on you winning the first place in the Kuwait University Engineering Design Expo. I think that's such a big deal, and I feel like you would have been personally proud of your achievement, as well as your family that, of course, have seen you go through this. Tell me about that experience.
It was a beautiful experience, really. The project was with my colleagues, Basil Babahani, Asa Boland, and Mohamed Ala. So it was an intense 6 months or 5 months in the project, working actually in the Douaniya. The entire rocket was built there in the Douaniya, and some stuff in Shueikh as well, building it. So it was a brainstorming session constantly for 5 months. We would stay in our house for 12 hours, 13 hours,
Nice.
pull all-nighters, and try to make that happen and be a reality within the strict time that we have.
And also, how is the perspective in the exhibition with the audience when they're just watching this? Like everyone is
was
like
packed.
visiting your place.
It was packed. I was talking non-stop for an hour.
Nice.
Like a section of people come, I describe what's going on, what's the project. Another set of people come, and I was just talking about the project. They're really interested in like a rocket actually is a project for graduation. So it was nice. People were passionate. Some of them didn't believe it. That's actually a rocket. So we showed them the video, and they were excited. And I was really proud. Then after that, you go for actually the ceremony and the prizes, and it was very nice to have that people see it as something important and to get the first prize from KFAS.
Nice.
So it was really nice.
For sure, it's definitely a very big deal, Aziz, and it's very interesting just for us to hear about it, of course. So I want to move on to, of course, the different things you have done, and you're very committed to the environmental stewardship. So that led you to an Antarctic expedition. How was
Yes.
that, and what were the observations that you made about climate change?
Yeah, so it was back in 2017 actually. When I was young, my dad would bring these notes from his work, and in the end, there's like a map of the world. And there was that
Right.
small region, white region, and I was always put an X. I want to go there one day. And I had the opportunity. I was at an event, and I saw Mr. Badr Al-Khrafi, CEO of Zain, and I approached him with the idea. I told him I have an idea to make a documentary about climate change in Antarctica. And fast forward 2 weeks, I was meeting with them and they approved the trip. And I went to Antarctica, the last wilderness on Earth. I met great people, researchers and scientists who described how the effects of climate change and global warming are affecting our environment. And you can see that there's a lot of change in the actual topology of the place. The glaciers were melting, and the life there, the actual creatures are migrating, different birds are coming. I depicted that in the documentary, and it was a beautiful experience to be.
You saw the shots there, the working group preparing.
Richard Swan.
Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, so Richard Swan is the founder of the International Antarctic Expedition, and his goal is to raise awareness about global warming, climate change for countries to take action and solve that problem. He explained a lot of things that he's done in Antarctica and how he inspired people. And you can see here we're going on a boat to go to.
How was the
actual
temperature
land.
that time?
Oh, it's freezing, like
Freezing,
in
huh?
the negatives. It's really, really cold. But you can see the penguins and all the life and creatures.
It was early morning time?
Yes, you wake up early, go by the boat, and they give you lectures there by researchers. There was actually a researcher from NASA there giving a speech about climate change, global warming. And you can see remains of whales from 2 centuries ago there. The remains are there because it's very cold, so they're preserved. And you cannot touch stuff there, like the wildlife is forbidden to touch. You just can document the stuff. It was actually life-changing experience. Like after coming from it, I decided, okay, like what is the next step? I've done this. Now I should do something for my community to make a change.
Nice.
Definitely.
And the trip did really inspire me.
It's like well excited. Like the good thing about our distinguished guest, he's following his passion. Even he traveling overseas just to seek for his passion, Rita.
Definitely, and you're definitely achieving your dreams. So Antarctica was a dream. I want to know more about the experience. Did you expect it to be the way you actually found it to be? And what were the highlights and challenges? I want to know the good and the bad.
In the beginning, I had an idea of what Antarctica would be. I thought it's like freezing and everything is ice.
Right.
But like going there, you can see it's not a lot of ice and that cold, because climate change and global warming did actually change the place.
Definitely.
And I did not expect to see researchers from NASA and people there to describe the stuff in Antarctica and the peninsula. I saw also a lot of penguins, maybe 200 penguins there. Like
Everyone's dream.
shedding feathers. Yeah, it's very beautiful. And the highlights is the huge remains of the whales.
Nice.
I didn't expect that 2 centuries ago.
Yes.
And the first person, the first person to go to Antarctica, his grandson, I think, was there with us. So he was telling stories about his grandfather and
Wow.
how he came here back in the days and what they did. And you can see old shacks, old wooden shacks, where explorers and voyagers used to come and do scientific research. So.
But the way you documented the trip was amusing with your colleagues. How do you document all the trip, like your normal camera on your smartphones?
Yeah, so it was a GoPro and a Canon. You can see the penguin here. And we just had a small mic, and I went there, did not prepare actually with a script or anything. I just wanted to take it as it is, like whatever feeling I have, let me document it, talk about it, and yeah, that's how it went.
That was amusing that day. That's why we always say, like, this kind of a trip, it will be something in your mind.
Yeah.
This is something you will not forget, but for sure you travel in different destinations also to seek something of your passion. Can you tell us more about another destination you experienced also?
Yeah, so one of the things that I've done, I'm proud of, is the International Astronomical Congress in Germany.
Okay.
So I submitted a research paper about optimizing sounding rockets, basically a methanol liquid oxygen rocket in Germany. And the idea was on how to increase the efficiency of the rocket with also the Kuwait Space Rocket Project in the research. Like we chose a place in Kuwait, what's the best place to launch, and describing the whole idea. I presented it there in Germany. And out of 500 research submitted, got the 3rd place in Germany.
Congratulations.
So thank you. Thank you very
Nice,
much.
we are proud.
So it was exciting to see everybody interested in space in one location. And I actually met Bill Nye, the science guy, if you know him.
Nice.
Wow.
He's a guy that talks about science and teaches the kids back in the days in TV. I met him and talked to him about the idea, and he was really excited. And he
Nice.
gave me a thumbs up to just push on and go ahead.
Very nice.
Of course, so many achievements, Aziz, this evening that we're getting to learn about, but your dreams don't just end there. I know that you have a vision to basically kickstart the space industry here in Kuwait, which I think is absolutely amazing and very cool. So what steps do you think are necessary to hopefully achieve that in the future?
Yeah, so the idea is you want a sustainable aerospace industry for the MENA region. The current state of affairs in our location in the world, that if you want to launch an experiment or conduct a technology test on something in space, you would have to export it to other places like NASA or India, Japan, the Wallops launch facility in USA, or the SSC in Sweden. So these are all companies or places that launch payloads to space.
Nice.
So for us to expand in the MENA region, we would require a way to launch our own payloads to space.
Nice.
And that's where the business side of the idea came. If we have a location in the Arab world that we can use to launch space rockets and sounding rockets, we would accelerate the advancements in technology, space exploration, and research. So I believe the next step would be actually to continue with the rockets, to develop more. We have an idea to build a new rocket, Ambition 3, and to actually break the world record for rockets that are based on sugar propellant, sucrose propellant. The current record is 12.7 kilometer, and hopefully we're aiming to do it 20 kilometers and have it part of the Guinness World Record achievement, and to give it to Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Mash'al Al-Sabah, as an achievement of the Kuwait youth.
Yeah, we are looking forward for your next achievement for sure, and also for us as a Kuwait TV, we're gonna cover it. I know like you're working hard now. Thank you for sharing this exclusive news to us. I know you're working now with your team.
Didn't tell anybody.
So it's like a good thing you're sharing to us. But before we're gonna continue more, elaborate more about your topic, now let's go to the heading for next break. Then we'll move on our show around Kuwait with our distinguished guest, Engineer Nasser Ashkanani. Stay tuned.
Dear viewers, we are back from this break, and of course we're going to be continuing our conversation with the engineer Nasser Ashkanani. We learned a lot, Aziz, about... I learned, you know, a bit more since you're an engineer, but I'm learning a lot this evening about rockets.
Because you know, good thing about our show around Kuwait, we're always learning for our guests today. That's why we are investing, and we're happy, excited to have with us today engineer Nasser Ashkanani. But I am curious because you mentioned something very we consider him a legend in science, and he's into media. So been at that time you've been with him for like more than 1 hour.
Yeah.
How is the experience you're interacting with him in person now, face to face? How was the experience?
Bill Nye is extremely humble. He's passionate about science and technology and a very knowledgeable person. Real life, he's hilarious. He's extremely funny.
Nice.
And he was very supportive about the idea, and he motivated me, pushed me to actually follow through with the idea. And I promised him that one day you will see a rocket flying from Kuwait.
Did you document something with him? Did you record a video or selfie picture?
I just took a picture.
Picture?
Yes, just a picture with Bill Nye. But it was fun seeing him, because when I was a kid, I would actually see him on TV, like follow his experiments, talking about science. Then suddenly one day you see him in real life. It's strange, right?
Is he taller than on TV or shorter?
I think it's the same as he was on TV, as I imagined him.
Yeah.
But he's a bit older now. But Bill Nye, you're always young if you're seeing this.
Nice. The same spirit as usual.
Oh yeah, always the same spirit.
I honestly feel like you have a lot of amazing experiences because you guys were talking about a scientific idol, someone you watched on TV. So I'm sure you met a lot of other people and had the most amazing experiences. So can you share some things you have learned along the way, especially from your collaboration with the International Space Agencies and the different organizations that you have worked with?
Yeah, so the trip to Germany, I met a lot of aerospace engineers from all over the world, from USA, India, some people from China, and we still are in contact. It's like a community.
Keep in touch, huh?
Oh yeah, we keep in touch.
Amazing.
I met a guy, his name is Buddy, his father is called Rocket Man, and
Okay.
he's very famous in USA. So he would build like vehicles, cars with rocket engines and stuff like
Wow.
that. And just recently he talked to me on a video call in actually Starbase SpaceX before the Starship launch.
Nice.
So it's very nice to keep in touch with people like that. As you see, they are in the same mindset and the same community as you, and you motivate each other. And I'm also in contact with Robert Swan and the people and the engineers I met in India, and some engineers in ISRO, the Indian Space Agency.
So these people, you met him in Germany from different nations, different continents, different countries. What is the things is common between all of us? Is it like humanity or the knowledgeable or the level of thinking? You already experienced all of these. What you can tell us?
See, I believe it comes down to passion.
Okay.
I would say science and technology and all of that, but it's passion. It's just because they love what they do. They believe in it. They want to see it. It's I believe it's something you had when you were a kid, and you're just an adult now actually doing it. So I believe it's passion and a shared cause to lift humanity up and to explore more.
Nice.
I think that's the reason.
Nice.
Definitely. Very, very great. So you're the perfect person to basically give advice when it comes to space and everything that comes with that. What kind of advice would you give to young engineers that want to explore that part of engineering?
So if you're young and you have passion towards space, I believe that you should push on. It might seem hard in the beginning. Some people won't believe it or see it as something far-fetched.
Right.
But be determined and believe in yourself. Always watch the larger vision.
Nice.
And make it something that would solve a problem in your region, in your community, in your country. This way, people can be with you and support you. And in the end, dare to do mighty things. This is what I say.
And also, I usually said, like, engineers always care about the environment, environment, an eco-friendly system. Now we are heading to the era because we have to take a good care of our environment, especially in the rockets and the aerospace engineering and the space field. We have always considered about the environment. How come the rocket space engineering or the aerospace engineering supporting the environment in your point of view?
Yeah, definitely. So the idea of sounding rockets, that they are rockets that study the upper atmosphere and space. So rockets can carry experiments that look back down to Earth and study the atmosphere and the different composition of gases, what is the concentration, and how is the state of our planet. So by building rockets and observing the Earth more, we can have more data for environmental scientists and researchers to have better models and actually to conduct in situ studies on the upper atmosphere. So what differentiates these rockets that we're building than high altitude balloons or satellites in orbit, that they fill a gap between these two. It's basically between 45 kilometers and 150 kilometers that satellites cannot orbit and balloons cannot reach because they expand and explode. So you can actually do studies there on that point to understand what is happening in our environment. So that's how it's related to the environment.
That is amazing. I'm learning so much this evening, honestly, about space, about engineering. how do you try to inspire the upcoming generation? To me, this is all new, and I can only imagine what it's like to the younger generation that do have these dreams, do have these aspirations to actually become part of engineering and space engineering. What are you doing to work towards that?
Well, I say everybody that's interesting, I would definitely say to him, watch Iron Man, because that's what worked for me. You gotta watch the movie, it's very inspiring and in reality based. Check out the amazing things done by SpaceX and Elon Musk, and believe in yourself. Go into the sciences in high school, choose the science side and part, and choose an engineering major that you like. And always think how you can benefit your society. You know, our country gave us so much, so we should give something back.
And
That's
there's
right.
also the Oppenheimer movie. I know Oppenheimer. I know, like, see, I touch you from
I
the
love
bottom.
it.
Yeah, I know you love it. For 3 hours, we saw something about science,
Yes.
aerospace engineering, and this field. It's all about the dream come true.
Yeah.
The director was amazing, everything. I will not go to the cinematic, I will go to the science.
Yes.
As a person like you, that was in World War that time.
Yeah.
How do you see the technology comes from that time until today?
Well, I can say that for that time, the technology of the atomic bomb was like ahead of its time. Like, who would imagine that we can create that much energy from small atoms? So it was just a shifting point in science and technology to our future. And like the actual testing of dropping the bomb and like people staying, putting some cream on their face, it just felt that I've been there by being in a field. You know, by being in the field, having the rocket far away and testing, and it's actually scientifically accurate. You can see when the bomb exploded, the light came first, then
And
the sound.
every
right?
time you hear the sound of the atoms like shaking. Is it like true? Like even you feel in the aerospace engineering all the time, you feel the vibe. I know for sure. Even you're working when you see the blast and the things and the atoms.
It's exciting. It's amazing. Like the sound of an engine roaring, a rocket engine, it's just a thrill that you cannot experience otherwise. And especially if you did it yourself. It just gives you a push. You feel proud of yourself. So that's what I want to tell the youth. If you do something and build it, you would have a totally different feeling.
Definitely. It's a very special experience. And I think you get addicted to it, right?
Oh yeah.
Does it get old at any point?
It doesn't get old. It gets hard. You know, when you grow up, you have more responsibilities. You need to get a job, and it just becomes more tough.
Right.
And in these times, I just remember the vision and imagine Kuwait's flag in space. Just imagining that, everything becomes easy, and I push forward and continue.
Nice. Engineer Nasser Ashkanani, we can say all the time we are very proud of you. We consider you a proud of Kuwait. 6 years ago, I saw you in the KIF Kuwait International Fair. Like it's like you are just like to do test something. Now you have 3 meters rockets, and now you're following your passion, and you're sharing with us something exclusive about your next project. That's why we are very proud of you. We can say all the times our guests, good times run very fast. We didn't fill the time. Thank you so much for joining us, but we are looking forward for your next achievement to be here. We'll talk about it, okay?
Definitely will be here to show you what happened with the upcoming launch. Hope it all goes well. And I would like to thank you for being exciting about what we're doing here in Kuwait, and hopefully to the best in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much, Nasser. That was very interesting. We learned a lot from you this evening. And Aziz, I think it was a really great interview.
Amazing. We learned too many things, and we're like in this hour. Thank you. Thanks to him.
Definitely, Aziz. So, dear viewers, with that, we have reached the end of our episode of Around Kuwait this evening. I hope you enjoyed all of the content as much as Aziz and I did.
Yeah, for sure. See you next time, and have a lovely day.
Good night.